white stone options you have for your engagement ring. So we're going to be covering the difference between natural diamond, lab diamond, moissanite, and white sapphire. So hopefully this will better kind of educate you on all the different options, what the pros and the cons are, so you can kind of choose what it is that is best for you. So I'm a custom jewelry designer who specializes in engagement rings from Montreal. So if you have any other questions or would like to place a custom order, you just let me know and I'll be happy to help. Let's start with natural diamonds, because throughout the video we're going to be comparing predominantly everything back off of natural diamonds. Most people, when they're buying an engagement ring still today, like we have so many different alternatives like sapphires, emeralds, tourmalines, like there's a wide range, but I think natural white diamond is still the dominating purchase for an engagement ring. Ultimately, nothing really compares to the brilliance of a diamond. Even moissanite, we're going to touch on that in a bit, but nothing compares to the brilliance of a diamond. When you see a naturally cut diamond, the look of it sparkles like water. Like there's just nothing that compares to it. It also has a durability of 10 on 10. So for something that you're going to be wearing forever, perfect. So when you're going to be buying your diamond, the most important part, and I think most people don't know this, is going to be the cut, because that's really what's going to influence not only the brilliance, right? And because it's going to be your central focal point of what you're looking at, you want it to have that wow factor. You want it to have that sparkle. And if your cut isn't excellent, then you're not going to get that, because that is what makes it pop, that's what makes it sparkle, but it also influences the carat weight. So I feel like it's a little less for round, but when you get into fancy shapes, ovals, pairs, whatever, sometimes the carat weight, you can look at a stone and say, oh, you know, it's 1.2 carats, oh, it's 1.18 carats. But actually the stone, if you look at the sizes, it can be the same size as, you know, even 2 points lower. So it can be the same size as a 1 carat, because the cut is so bad that instead of being, you know, cut so that it optimizes the width and the length, it's in the depth, and so you're paying for all this carat that you don't actually end up seeing. So those are really important factors to consider when looking for a diamond. You guys, this is not a sales pitch, but for products like diamonds, because they're as complicated as they are, I do generally recommend getting advice from a professional. So if you want to come to us and you want to buy your own diamond, knock your socks off, absolutely. But we have trained to do this for many years now, and so we know what we're looking out for, and we can guarantee that we're going to buy you the best diamond. You know, for a product that you're paying quite a substantial amount of money, you definitely want to make sure that you are getting the best bang for your buck, so do keep that in mind. So next we have lab diamonds. Before I go into any of the other options, whether it's lab diamond, moissanite, sapphire, I'm not pushing diamonds because I make more margins. I actually make less money on natural diamonds than I do on any of the other 3 options that I'm going to be talking about, including lab. So when I say these things are not good options, it's not because I'm trying to sell to you, it's really because they're not good options. Especially lab. Lab diamonds have been marketed in 2 ways. One, they've been marketed in the sense that it's more economic, right? They have better price points for lab, but the second is environmental. So unfortunately, environmental is not true. I've done a lot of research on lab diamonds, how they're made, where they come from. You know, predominantly they come from coal-fueled energy places like India, China, where to produce them, they actually use coal, so it's actually not better for the environment. They don't give back to the communities. Mining does provide jobs for millions of people, and when you're buying a lab diamond, it's coming from a factory with very few employees, so you know, it doesn't give back to the community, it doesn't give jobs for people, which I'm very much against, because mining is a huge industry, it provides a lot for a lot of people, even though it's a hard job. And I think that people tend to criticize mining in a way that is pushed to a point where it doesn't make sense. You know, I think everybody has seen the movie Blood Diamonds, but ultimately there's only 2% of blood diamonds on the market. So the likelihood of you ever even seeing one is so unlikely. This is a really in-depth topic going into lab. I'm not going to cover all the points because I've made other videos with these points, and so I think that if you want to watch it, you can watch it. I'll link it down below. So ultimately, I do not believe that lab-grown diamonds are an ethical option. I genuinely don't. And I think that the people who are selling it to you as an ethical option are selling it to you that way because they can't sell it in any other way. When somebody is selling you a lab-grown diamond, ask them what they're wearing, because I guarantee you that they are not wearing lab. No jeweler who knows what they're talking about will ever sell you a lab-grown diamond. It is the worst investment. It is the biggest scam. In terms of investment, you know, you're still paying quite a substantial amount of money, like 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 and up, depending on the carat weight. And so if you're already paying that much money for something that's going to depreciate as quickly as it is, I'm sorry, but it's a really bad investment. It's a really bad investment. You guys have to be very careful for that, because lab-grown diamonds depreciate by 25 to 30% annually. That's huge. Okay, so please keep that in mind. What I usually recommend to clients, because usually when they're buying a lab-grown, predominantly it's for price. Okay, obviously if they could buy a natural diamond, they would. But they can't, and so they opt out for kind of like a lesser version of, which is totally fine, 100%. What I would actually suggest you do is do this swap method, okay? This is something that we offer for clients. It's when, instead of starting off with a diamond, we will actually make your ring with a white sapphire, let's say a 1 carat white sapphire or 1.5 carat, okay? And so when you are ready to pay for the diamond, then we can, it's super easy. We literally just take the prongs of your engagement ring, we open it, we take the white sapphire out, give it back to you if you want to make a necklace with it or something, whatever. Then we put the natural diamond in and close the prongs and we give it back to you. That way, you will be getting exactly what you want. It's just maybe not right away. So we'll start you off with a white sapphire engagement ring, and then maybe in 2 years, in 5 years, whatever, whenever you get that promotion, I don't know. Then we can pay for the diamond. So in the end, you will get exactly what you want. You won't be buying a lesser product because you can't or don't want to invest right away in a natural diamond. There are always options. You know, if you come to us and you say, this is my budget, this is what I'm looking for, we will always provide you so many different options for you to choose for until we find the right fit for you. So don't hesitate if you have any questions. Alright, so let's talk white sapphires. Sapphires come in a wide range of colors, one of them being colorless, so like white like a diamond. These are really fun alternatives because, one, they are extremely durable. Just like a diamond, they have a hardness of, I think, 9 to 9.5. So for a ring that you can be wearing forever, same thing, very durable. They're also really great in the sense that they come at a significant price drop compared to diamond. So you can buy a white sapphire anywhere starting point like $250 to like maybe $1,000 a carat, depending on the quality, depending on the cut of the sapphire. So that's significant, and I'm talking about Canadian dollars because I'm in Canada, just in case you're wondering. So that's a huge price difference compared to diamond. Most people, I think, wouldn't actually be able to tell the difference. I think the main factor is that it's definitely not as like sparkly, definitely doesn't have the same brilliance. It has a nice brilliance, but it doesn't compare to a diamond. So if you want a much larger carat weight and don't want to pay the prices of diamonds, white sapphire is a really fun option. You know, you can easily get like a 2 carat white sapphire engagement ring for anywhere between like $3,500, $4,500, depending on the quality, how many additional carats, yada yada. It's a really fun starting price point for younger people or anyone who doesn't want to spend those price points of diamonds. Definitely consider it. I think the one thing that I would keep in mind is the color. You really want to make sure that the sapphire is of a nice color because sometimes they can be a little bit yellow, and so you kind of want to put it on a piece of white paper and really make sure that, okay, like it's of a nice color. That's extremely important if you're using metals like platinum, right? Platinum or 18 karat super white, metals that are very, very white. If your stone is slightly yellow, it will look more yellow. If it's in yellow gold, it's not a problem. Do keep that in mind. You know, the jeweler should know that, we know that, so you always make extra careful. And lastly, the cut. Because the price per carat is very, very low in retrospect, I would always put an emphasis on paying for a higher quality cut, just because that lower starting point allows you to have maybe being able to pay for higher quality in terms of other things. So the cut is very important, especially for gemstones. Gemstones tend to have a lot more depth, a lot thicker girdles. They're maybe not as even as a diamond. So in paying for a higher quality cut, you'll just get a much nicer gemstone, which I think is ultimately very important, because the principles of a nice cut from a diamond transfer the same principles as for colored gemstones. It's just for colored gemstones, for whatever reasons, a lot of the times the cuts are not as nice. So you want to be careful of that. Alright, moissanite. So let's cover moissanite. Personally, I wouldn't buy moissanite either. I always like to stick natural, okay? If you're not going to go natural diamond, go white sapphire. Like lab and like moissanite, they're synthetic, they're lab made. They don't hold their value, okay? And personally, I find that moissanite is kind of a glorified CZ. Yes, once upon a time it was found naturally, but it no longer occurs that way. We had a very small amount, I think, coming from like an asteroid or something, a meteorite, and it was extracted and now it's been reproduced synthetically, okay? But in my opinion, over the last few years, it has really become like a fad that just kind of popped. I think through TikTok, it got really, really popular, but at the end of the day, it's kind of just like a CZ. And I think that because of all of this hype, it got kind of glorified, and because of that, you know, the demand went up, the prices went up. And so ultimately, I think that no matter what, you're going to be paying more than you should be paying for your moissanite. You know, once you leave the jewelers, again, it's going to be worthless. So keep that in mind. I think the thing that really does bother me the most, though, is that it has a very synthetic look, okay? When you look at a moissanite, it has this kind of like funny flare that's very colorful, but it doesn't look natural. And so if you're buying a moissanite to replace a diamond, it's not at all the same look. You really want to stay 1 carat, not more. Because the bigger you go, the more it magnifies it, the less you're going to be able to pass it for a diamond or a white sapphire. It gets magnified, it gets blown up. Like, I'll be able to spot it across the table that it's a synthetic stone, which is fine for fashion jewelry, but generally for an engagement ring, you do want something of maybe a little bit of a higher quality. Again, this is my opinion. Like, if you love that synthetic flare, if you like that, like those colorful flashes, perfect. But for me, having sold jewelry for as long as I have, understanding like the reselling value, understanding the quality and price, I think that you're definitely always going to be overpaying for what it is that you're getting. So here's something that I've noticed. A lot of people will compare moissanite to diamond. It is not the same thing. And they will argue that yes, you know, on paper, moissanite has a higher refraction index than diamond, but it doesn't refract the same way, okay? Diamonds, when they are properly cut, it looks like water. It's so beautiful, okay? And I'm not a diamond buyer. I don't wear diamond. I prefer colored gemstones. I always have. But I want you to know that when you're looking at the refraction of a moissanite and a refraction of a diamond, it's just not comparable. It may have a higher refraction on paper, but it just doesn't look the same. And I think that what has happened, this is my hypothesis, is that most people have not actually seen a brilliant cut diamond. And I stand by that statement, okay? I think that most people, they refer to the diamonds that they've seen around them, like engagement rings. My generation, the people who are now buying engagement rings, are looking at their parents' engagement rings, okay, who have been cut 10, 20 years ago. But the reality is that diamonds today do not have the same standard of cut that they did have 10, 15, 20 years ago. And so you're comparing a lesser quality than there is today. Like a diamond cut today and diamond cut even like literally 10 years ago is not at all the same ballpark. And so these people are looking at their parents' engagement rings as a reference, but it's no longer a good reference because, you know, the moissanites that are being cut today are going to definitely outsparkle these old stones. Lastly, on kind of the same point, is that moissanites are always filmed in very unnatural environments. Okay, so what I mean by that is any jeweler who's filming moissanite, the way that moissanite sparkles the best is actually in really high intensity spotlights of light and dark contrasting. that is how you get the biggest pop out of your stone. It's not like diamond, it's not like white sapphire. When you film like white sapphire and diamond, we like for videos or anything that we're doing, having those kinds of harsh lights don't actually make the stones look good. They film better in like natural lighting. And so when you're taking moissanite out of these settings, out of these high brilliance settings, it's actually a little bit dull. Like, you'd be surprised, but I always found that moissanite in everyday daylight, it's a little bit gray. It doesn't sparkle as much as you would think. And so I think that people are going to always be a little bit disappointed. I think they're going to see videos online of what they look like in these like hyper arranged environments that are made so that they have the optimal amount of sparkle, and then when they're going to take them out of that context, it's going to be kind of like blah. So please keep that in mind. Of course, there are always other white gemstones, you know, just like colorless quartz, things like that. But I won't really touch on them today because I don't really think that they have a place in the engagement ring world, if you will, just because they're stones that are generally around like $10, things like that. And when you're buying an engagement ring, you want something of higher quality. So, alright guys, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I'd love to know what your choice is, why you choose it out of the 4 I just named. These are your choices. Ultimately, it's your engagement ring. You want to feel comfortable and you want to feel happy, regardless of what anybody else says, right? These are just my opinions from the industry. Thanks for watching. If you do want to make a custom engagement ring with us, just send us a DM, and so see you next time.